Hey, what's up? Today I'm talking about Mamo by Sas Milledge. It's a whimsical and adventurous young adult graphic novel. Hey, editing me cutting in super early. It's actually Sas Milledge, not Milledge. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I definitely say it that way a few times, so sorry. Anyway. First published by Penguin Random House back in October of 2021. I just recently picked up this book, so I'm going to be talking about it in 2026. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it. The story follows Orla O'Reilly, the most recent hedge witch, in a long line of preceding witches within her family line. Orla has traveled back to her hometown of Hare's Den following the death of her grandmother, whom she refers to as Mamo. Mamo is both the name of the book and a colloquial term, or a nickname, I guess, in Ireland for grandmother. So, just to give you a little context, over the comic's 200 pages or so, we see Orla team up with another resident of the community, Jo Manalo, who's seeking out a witch in order to cure her mother. Jo's mother appears to be cursed, and when the curse is tied directly back to Mamo, the girls are brought together to stop the mysterious goings-on within Hare's Den. As readers, the mystery unravels for us alongside the girls. With our protagonists, we learn that Mamo's bones have been scattered across the village, and that this has caused a portion of the strange goings-on around town. Not all of the mysterious happenings are related to Mamo's bones, as Mamo's absence left the role of tending to the Fae of Hare's Den unfulfilled, so the Fae have begun to act out and misbehave within the area. Mamo brings up a lot of cultural stories and perspectives. Hi, editing me coming in again, so I do want to clarify that I don't have a good understanding of paganism or witchcraft or anything like that. All my understanding of the more folkloric elements are based in a more objective way. My family historically, I guess, has ties to Ireland, but the extent of it I know is Sláinte and Checkir law, so not coming at this in a very good understanding of the cultural context that the book could be presenting. Our protagonists represent pretty different sides of the spectrum. For Orla, who grew up in magic, the fantastical elements of the world are second nature. We see this pretty early on when she reprimands Jo for trying to get a spoon that she recognizes as her mom's, when in reality Orla can pretty quickly discern this as a fairy trap. However, we do see that not everything with Orla's experience in magic is super peachy keen. Where Orla draws her magic from, for example, is pretty distinct from how Mamo raised her too. Orla has a yearning to travel, and her magic itself comes from this wanderlust, but at the same time, it becomes almost impossible to tear herself away from Hare's Den, both because this is kind of her home, it's where she grew up anyway, but also because of happenings tied directly to the plot. Jo is kind of the opposite of Orla, having grown up without any understanding of the magic around her, but a thirst for knowledge and general curiosity surrounding the world that she doesn't really understand. Their difference goes even further than that too, with Jo having a large close-knit family in contrast to Orla, or their outlook on the town that they both grew up in. Jo knows everyone and stands as a welcoming face and charismatic member of her community. Orla, on the other hand, grew up under Mamo's thumb, in reclusion, and without an understanding of the human side of the town. Both girls balance each other well and find that they work best as a team. A witch needs her coven, and they kind of find it in each other. Our story does conclude with the girls being more than friends, but additionally focuses on communication, consent, and what it means to sacrifice something for the betterment of another person. Both girls represent new beginnings for one another, with Jo beginning her education as a witch, and Orla forming genuinely close connections and ties with new people. I am a broken record in saying that I did not think the book needed romance, but the story and relationship between the girls is really well done. I'm not going to complain that it's there, I just didn't think it was needed, but I do think it's cute. To talk a little bit about the art of the book, besides it just being really nice, it specifically reminded me kind of WPA posters from the 1930s and 40s in America, specifically the work of Chester Powell for National Parks and Monuments. Something about the way that both of them illustrate land, the vastness of it, and the almost whimsical element of it feels very fairy tale-esque to me. I don't know. I've always loved these posters, so perhaps I'm pulling at straws just to put it in the video, but yeah. Hi, future me coming in, editing this video. If you don't know what WPA posters are, they were Work Progress Administration posters. During the Great Depression, it was a public works project, and you can find a lot of them on the Library of Congress website. Yeah, you should check it out if you haven't. But they can also be super dated. I'm sure some of it is of its time. Alright, anyway, tangent aside, in Mamo there's a gentleness to a lot of the aerial shots and more panoramic views that we get to see. This is a really neat contrast when you get up close to something, such as Milledge's work with birds specifically. There's also a really good fluidity, like sense of flow with especially the nature of the book. The trees themselves aren't stiff. None of the nature is really stiff. It tends to ebb and flow with the page and kind of match with the characters' movements. I don't know. I think it looks really nice, and it definitely gives a liveliness to the overall feeling of the page. And personally, I thought that worked exceptionally well with the more folkloric elements of the story. If you've seen, I keep bringing things up, and I'm so bad about bringing other things up when I'm talking about one thing. If you've seen the work of like Cartoon Saloon, which it's a studio that made like Song of the Sea and WolfWalkers, I think it has a kind of similar vibe to that as well. The pastel colors, simplified style, and natural flow of Millage's work definitely gives Mamo a dreamy feeling, at least to me. I will say, since I don't have anywhere else to mention it, and I feel I would be remiss not to involve Moomins at any opportunity I can, Orla does remind me a bit of Snufkin or Joxer, both her desire to travel and also just the design of her character.
Look, we don't want you here, Stinky. Why don't you just go away?
In a similar vein to that, and to speak more broadly about Milledge's art style, I do think that she does a consistently good job with character design, specifically with how unique the characters look. Unique both in regards to each other and the other characters of this story, but also in the greater library of Milledge's work. Yeah, taking a look at Milledge's website, there's definitely a sense of stylistic harmony between different projects, but in my opinion, they all have a pretty distinct vibe and style from each other. I also like that Mamo is an older character who looks older. I think the character art in general is just very solid. The different character designs and projects that she's worked on, I just think it's worth highlighting how well I think they fit into their own fantastical environment and still feel very modern. Milledge has created an environment in which both old magic and fae exist, and also people could have cell phones and definitely have bicycles. There's certainly a lot more that I could say about Mamo, but I'd like to leave some surprises. At its heart, Mamo is the story of two young women banding together to overcome generational pressures, solve a mystery plaguing their community, and find support in one another. It also holds a magic system that harkens back to traditional folk magic and has a heavy emphasis on fae and human relationships and the need to coexist. If you're a fan of Howl's Moving Castle or more whimsical fantasy, I think you'll really enjoy Mamo. At the end of the day, after I finished the comic, I did kind of wish that there was more, and so I totally read the continuation of the girl's story, but based on the conclusion of this story, I guess it couldn't really be called Mamo. But I think as the story stands now, it is a complete character arc and story arc, so that isn't me saying that anything's missing, it's just saying that if there was more, I would definitely check it out. And I guess that's all I have to say. Pretty quick and easy video, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, let me know if you've read Mamo what you think, or if you haven't, if it's something that you'll want to check out. By the by, totally random, feel free to click off now, but there is a Kickstarter that I'm going to talk about in this video. It's not sponsored, no one asked me to do it, I'm backing it, and I want to try to help them get to their goal. So it's called Old Souls. It's currently on Kickstarter for 13 days as of recording, so probably only like a week when I get this video up. It's created by Abby on Kickstarter, who is a Leeds-based illustrator and comic artist, and it's sort of a continuation of a short story that they had made before. It's a Western romance following Dorothea Todd and a mysterious woman named Rosa, who turns out to be an outlaw known as the Desert Rose. Dorothea helps out Rosa, and then the two eventually run into each other again at a saloon. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, I'll post a link to the Kickstarter in the description of the video. Maybe I'll end up making a video about the comic once it's out and I get the chance to read it. But yeah, again, this segment or whatever isn't sponsored or anything, obviously, but I feel like I need to reiterate that. Yeah, I don't have a good plug for this or anything. I just want to tack it on. Yeah. Anyway, aside from that, hi, I'm Mojo. I post what I want when I want, mostly about comics, sometimes about other things. Please feel free to check out my channel and other videos, or subscribe if you're so inclined. Yada yada yada. I always forget to record this and then I do it last. That's all I gotta say. Alright, anyway, until next time, have a good night. Thanks for checking out the video, and bye YouTube.